Good morning, guys. Amanda Kendall here with True Resolve Tax Professionals. And yes, you read that title right. Do not file all of your tax returns. What I'm talking about here today is all of your missing tax returns. So doing tax resolution, I have several clients come in my office sometimes and life has happened. Spouse passed away, kid passed away, tragic stuff happens in our lives that causes us to just kind of put important things in life that are not priority in what is going on for us at that time to the back burner. And sometimes this happens to be filing our taxes. And for most people, when that first year goes and you don't get it done, and then the second year goes and you don't get it done, now it almost becomes, in my experience, an object of, I don't know if fear is the right word, but that's the word I'm going to use. It becomes an object that is just looming over you. It's the elephant in the room. It is that issue that you just don't even want to address because now you are worried about what's going to happen. You haven't filed in 2 years, and 2 years becomes 3, and 3 becomes 4. And for some clients that I've worked with, we're talking several years, sometimes 10 years of tax returns that they haven't filed. And it just kind of snowballs from that first year into that second year into that third year. So what I want to talk about today is when do you file the returns you haven't and when do you not file the returns you haven't. Now, if we're talking that you have 1 or 2 years of taxes that you haven't filed, let's get on it. Call me today, let's get them filed, let's get you caught up, let's get you back on track. But if you are one of those taxpayers out there that life has happened to you and you're dealing with, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of taxes that you haven't filed, then that is what we're talking about today. You are the person that I want to speak to when I tell you do not file all of your returns without consulting someone. And here is why. The IRS has a 6-year requirement for you to be considered compliant with filing your taxes. So if we are talking 7, 8, 9, 10 plus years of missing returns that you need to file, the IRS may not require you to file all of those. And that is really, really important to understand, especially if you are already in a situation where you're dealing with tax liens, where you're dealing with back tax debt owed, where you're dealing with items that you are already dealing with collection action from the IRS. So case in point here, I'm going to use a previous client of mine as an example in his situation. So he came to me, he was referred to me after working with a company that had not done him any justice in dealing with his tax debt. He'd hired them, he'd paid them, he got absolutely no results from them. He wasn't even sure if they contacted the IRS, was referred over to me by a mutual friend of ours, came to me, we communicated about it, I called the IRS and found out that nobody had actually talked to the IRS since the returns were filed. Now for this particular gentleman, we were dealing with 12 years of balances due. 12 years of balances due accounted for about $350,000 worth of tax debt that he owed for the 12 years that had been filed the year prior. I'm on the phone with the IRS, and the representative I'm on the phone with says, "Why did you file all of these years?" And I said, "I didn't. The filings were done prior to me. I'm just coming in to help resolve the issue for him." And she goes, "He should have only filed the last 6. And I said, "Yes, I'm aware of this." She goes, "Is he aware that the person that did this just resulted in him owing $200,000 of taxes that the IRS wasn't even looking at until he filed those returns?" Let that sink in for just a quick moment. The IRS does not require you to file returns that are older than 6 years. So if you're in a situation where you've snowballed to this point, there's a decision to be made, and there are pros and cons of every decision, or of both sides of this decision. And so I want to just kind of lay those out so you're aware of what those are, and then that way you can make an educated decision. So if you are self-employed, this is probably the biggest issue you're facing when you're self-employed. And one of the biggest cons is that if you don't file that tax return, you are not getting the credit for Social Security from it. So being self-employed, we pay our Social Security and our Medicare tax. And so if you're not filing that return for your self-employed income, you're not getting the credit for the Social Security that you could be building up there. So that is one of the biggest cons. One of the pros is that you may, if you were going to owe the IRS isn't looking for it, and you could walk away from that balance due. So there are some pros and cons there. Now, if you're a W-2 employee, that con of not having your Social Security income reported goes away because it's reported with your W-2 through your employer, so you're already getting the credit for that there. But I just wanted to make you aware today that if you're dealing with more than 6 years of tax returns and you're looking at getting these filed, I highly recommend, if you're working with a CPA, great, but always get a second opinion from somebody who specializes in tax resolution, as we do here at True Resolve Tax, and just see if filing all of those is really in your best interest. Go over the pros and cons. Talk to someone who's better and someone that can help you work through that and figure that out to see if that is the best option. Work with your accountant, work with your CPA, work with your enrolled agent that specializes in preparing your taxes, and have them walk through and talk to you about what you could be looking at owing. Then, if they do not specialize in tax resolution, or if they are telling you that there is no option other than filing all of these, that the IRS is going to require them whether they're older than 6 years or not, get a second opinion and get someone else involved in that to protect your best interest. My client that I was just referring to owed $200,000 more than what the IRS would have ever looked at for him. Had he just filed the last 6 years of returns, he would have been considered compliant, he would have been considered current, and we could have set up a payment plan or done some type of resolution for him on that. Now, we were still able to do that, but we had to do it on a $350,000 tax debt instead of a $150,000 or $100,000 tax debt. So just wanted to make you aware of that. It's a little known fact out there that I've come across a lot of clients in doing tax resolution that don't always realize that they didn't have to file all those years, and their tax preparer didn't realize they didn't have to file all those years, and now we have a bigger issue than what we would have had they contacted someone and got a second opinion on exactly what to file and what the IRS was looking for first. So hopefully you find that helpful. Hopefully if you're one of those people facing that situation, you now know that you may be able to just deal with the last 6 years and walk away from that. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, True Resolve Tax Professionals. You can reach us at 720-319-8954. Thanks for hopping on and checking out this video today, and I hope you have a great day.